With Aradel fallen, the Shadow Spawn continued their offensive, attacking Manetheren, where King Thorin ruled a mighty army, waging an unending campaign against the enemy from the very beginning, sending their forces not only to protect their own borders, but also to aid the other nations of the Compact whenever they could. In time, his grandson Aemon also took up the fight, forming a group of elite veteran warriors known as the Band of the Red Hand. With the aid of Manetheren, the armies of light at last started to make some progress, holding off the enemy advance and winning a great number of battles. However, the momentum of the war soon changed once more, as the Shadow Spawn came under the command of Ba-Alzaman, a new general of unmatched cunning and skill, who gained such a fearsome reputation, many started to believe he was the Dark One made flesh. However, it was later learned that the general was more likely to be a Shamael, leader of the Forsaken, who were defeated by Lews Therin during the Age of Legends. Although the Forsaken were locked away in Sheol Ghul, Ishamael was only partially imprisoned, able to return to the world for 4 decades every 1,000 years. And so in the midst of the Trolloc Wars, Ba-Alzaman appeared and led the armies of the Dark One to many victories, including the conquest of Manetheren. After years spent pushing back the Shadow Spawn, King Thorin died and the crown passed to his grandson Aemon, who continued to rule in much the same way, sending their armies to aid their neighbors whenever possible. However, when the invasion of Manetheren culminated in the Battle of the Tarandrel River, the king found himself unjustly abandoned, with no reinforcements arriving from the other nations of the Compact. Defeated and in retreat, King Aemon decided to make a last stand at the Battle of Aemon's Field, where he died alongside his men. Aemon's wife, Queen Eldrine, a powerful Aes Sedai, felt the death of her beloved husband and went mad with grief, summoning an enormous amount of the One Power, which erupted to destroy both the realm as well as the Shadow Army descending upon them. Later, it was learned that Tetsuan, the Amerlin seat of the Aes Sedai, purposefully betrayed Manetheren, preventing reinforcements from arriving simply because of a personal grudge she held against Queen Eldrine. And so in punishment, she was deposed and stilled, a process which stripped her of the ability to channel the One Power, a fate many of their kind believed was worse than death. Cormanda and Almoran soon collapsed as well, allowing the vast horde of Trollocs to sweep through the southern lands of Earran, destroying the capital of Londoran Kor, as well as the city of Barashta. After 40 years of hard-fought battles, the great general Ba-Alzaman vanished without a trace, leaving the Dark Armies scattered across the Westlands, far from their base of power in the north, and without a proper central authority. In addition, by 1251 AB, the Aes Sedai chose Rishima Karen Mosa as their new Amerlin seat, a powerful sorceress as well as expert military commander who led the forces of light to many great victories, including the defeat of the Trolloc army during the 4th invasion of Tarvalin in 1290 AB. She then launched a 10-year campaign to push back the Shadow, winning battles at the Kaisen Pass, the Sorel Steppe, Larapel, and Tel Norwin. Her efforts then led to one final confrontation at the Battle of Mirgande in 1301 AB, an epic battle of massive scale fought over several days, which ultimately ended in defeat for the Shadow Spawn. Unfortunately, Rishima did not live to celebrate her victory, as she was surrounded by dreadlords during the battle, able to take 9 of them with her to the grave. Although the war continued on a smaller scale until 1350 AB, the attacks lessened significantly before the war finally came to a close and the last of the Shadow Spawn retreated into the far north, bringing an end to the years after breaking. Only 5 of the 10 nations of the Compact survived into the free years that followed, but after centuries of war, these territories soon collapsed as well, replaced by smaller realms with new governments, once again tasked with rebuilding their fallen civilizations. During the years of the Trolloc Wars, fighting spilled beyond the Westlands into the desert wastes of the east, but with the harsh conditions of the terrain, the Aiel clans united and threw back any attempt at invasion, leaving the Shadow Spawn to nickname the area the Dying Ground. Further east, Shara also fell under attack by the Dark Armies, but they too were able to defeat the threat against them. Across the sea in Shanchan, they were largely spared from this centuries-long struggle, having already spent years destroying the Shadow Spawn on their continent, long before the Trolloc Wars ever began. The Land of Madmen also avoided this conflict as they were too far south from the Great Blight to be affected, and had long ago isolated themselves from outside contact. Love audiobooks? Then be sure to check out Audible, where they have the world's largest collection available. Simply sign up through the link in the description box below and get 2 free audiobooks to start out. A special thanks to all those who contribute to Civilization X, like Nate Strong the Liberator, Daedry Dragonswit, Checo the Clever, and Midori Senin. If you would like to help Civilization X, click on the Patreon link, and please be sure to like and subscribe, and click on the links to see more.